What's up, everybody? Michael Johnson here with the Business Choreography Podcast, and I am so excited that you joined me today because today we have a very special guest. Today we have Michael Levin, and you guys are going to have your socks knocked right off. Today, I'm going to tell you, well, let me tell you a little bit about Michael. Michael is a New York Times bestselling author and ghostwriter. Michael's written, edited, published, or consulted on more than 1,000 books. Michael's own books have been published by Simon and Schuster, Random House, Penguin, and a variety of other top publishers. And he has written for the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, HuffPost, LA Times, Boston Globe, and many other top outlets. His ghostwriting clients include Boeing and Ford CEO Alan Mulally, Baseball Hall of Fame Dave Winfield, motivational speaker Zig Ziglar, NFL legend Pat Summerall, and countless other leaders in business, sports, broadcasting, real estate, finance, insurance, and many other fields. Guys, we are so dang lucky to have Michael here with us, and I can't wait to share him with you. So let's cue the intro and we'll jump right in. Listen, there's a lot to learn when growing and scaling your business.
That's why we created the Business Choreography Podcast, where we talk about choreographing your marketing, operations, and sales into dynamic systems that increase your revenue and your impact.
We'll explore solid business principles and discuss all things that make businesses dance to success with clarity.
We'll help you figure out where the holes are in your business and what you can do to fix them. Think of us as your official business choreographers, aka your insider growth strategists.
Remember, your choreography matters. Welcome to the Business Choreography Podcast. Michael, welcome to the show. So exciting to have you here today. Thanks for joining us.
Michael, it's a privilege. Thank you for taking the time with me.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited to jump in. There's so much cool stuff to talk about, and you have so many cool topics that we can discuss, but I am sure as we go, we'll dig right into those. I love starting with backstory. I want people to know who you are and how you got here and the crazy winding road that I know is always the case to get to where we're at. So why don't you start back as far as you'd like and kind of lead us to this point?
Okay. Well, I was 8 pounds, 6 ounces when I was born. And how much time do we have? I always knew I wanted to be a writer, to write books. I love books, always loved books, still love books. Couldn't figure out how to make a living writing books, went to law school. That was okay. Went to 2 law firms. They didn't think I was okay. All but fired from the first one, fired from the second one, sold 3 novels to Simon and Schuster while I was still in my 20s. Couldn't agree on terms. Yeah, which was pretty cool. Couldn't agree on terms. It was really cool. Couldn't agree on terms for the 4th. Ran out of money, starving writer, on heating assistance, didn't like it, met a mentor. He was my mentor for 29 years. He showed me how to start a business. He said, you creative people cannot do your best work if you don't know how you're going to put food on the table or pay your rent. And the business was offering writing classes. I rented space from my yoga instructor and then in a church in downtown Boston. And the classes filled and people said, consult with me. And then they said, write it for me. And here we are 30 something years later and 1,000 books later. And that is pretty much it in a nutshell. So,
wow. I gotta hang on to my seat here for just a second.
It's more fun in the telling than it was in the doing, I'll tell you.
I'm sure it was. And well, I think that's the case. And I think, as you went through that, you mentioned some of the ups and some of the downs of it all. And I love that. I think that so many of us experience these crazy twists and turns from where we thought we were going. And when you were growing up, did you think you were going to be a writer? Is that like, hey, I want to be, that's what I'm going to do? Or was it something else completely?
There was nothing else. There's never been anything else. When I got to college, they had a visiting writer and I thought, oh my gosh, you can teach writing? That's cool too. I want to do that. So it's been, and then I've taught at UCLA and NYU and privately and around the country and around the world. So, but it's all about books. I'm a total book nerd. I love books. I love people. I love ideas. I love words. I love sentences. So, I'm in the right place. I'm in the right place.
Holy cow. Well, I mean, you said you found a mentor. Do you feel like they found you or that you found them? How did that story go?
That's a great question. I think that he says he saw something in me that I could be a good entrepreneur. And I was good and broke at the time. So I didn't know, I didn't know what he was talking about, but I walked where he told me to walk so I wouldn't blow up. I did everything he told me. I never questioned anything. And at one point, we were talking about a company that had grown really quickly and really kind of nearly destroyed itself. And he said something that I found really revealing. He said, "I never let you grow that fast." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "I'd never let you grow that fast because I wanted you to grow kind of smoothly instead of, too quickly because too much growth too soon can kill you." And
Right.
it was like, wow, I had no idea. So I would have, if it had been a little bit faster, I guess that would have been okay. But, it all works out. And that's the key thing. You just have to realize that if you hang in there long enough, it's going to work out.
Right. Well, that's the key, right? Is just being able to hang in there. And I love that, you mentioned not him not letting you grow too fast too soon. And also I think the piece that really stood out to me there is that you never questioned, you just did what they told you. And that is a huge thing. And I feel like in today's day, I feel like we've passed the information age. Now it seems as though we're squarely in the age of insight. It's your experience, it's the things that you've done combined with the information. But you can get information, it's a dime a dozen, from anywhere. And one of my favorite authors was Wallace Wattles, and he did The Science of Getting Rich and
Yes,
many others.
big fan.
And he said, and in his books, he'll oftentimes say straight away, if you're going to do this, just listen to this and do this. Don't get distracted. Don't go over here. Don't go over there. And so it's really cool to hear that you were able to do that with one mentor, because I feel like a lot of people get sidetracked and get this shiny object syndrome.
Yeah, I have some of that, and I've tried a bunch of things over the years, and they've all netted $0. So I just, when I stick to my knitting, which is ghostwriting books, I do fine. And when I go off and freelance and have ideas, uh, about 15 years ago, I got into a coaching program for entrepreneurs called Strategic Coach, and it's been incredibly helpful to me. And my first day, I said, "What's the difference between the material you teach us at the lowest level and the people at the millionaire level in the class?" This is 15 years ago. And she said, "Oh, the material is exactly the same. The difference is that the people at our higher levels do everything we say immediately, whereas the people at the lower levels argue with it, do half, do a little bit, get sidetracked." So I said, "Wow, then I'll just do everything here that I heard that Bob told me, And it's like, why are you paying smart people if you're not doing what they say? So why pay them?"
That's it. Yeah. And that makes me remember a story of Henry Ford being on trial for libel.
Yeah.
And they said, you're an idiot, you don't really know any of these things. He's like, I don't have to know them, I have a whole team of people that know them. And
Yeah.
it's about leveraging that experience. And I think that's really important. One of the things I wanted to ask you about is, with all this ghostwriting and all the writing that you do, you love it. I know a lot of people don't like it. I know that I was taught through school how bad of a writer I was. Instead of trying to bring out my ability to do it, I was always told that I wasn't good at it. And so I naturally went the other direction as much as I could. But I found out later now in my life that I actually am not that bad at it. And so I've just had some mentors that have come back like you that have said, "Hey, you should actually do that more. You're better than you think." And that leads me to the next question is, why should business people have their own books? Why do you think that that's the case?
Yeah, sure. Just to address the point you just made, many people have had this experience. In third grade, they turn in a story to the teacher and they think they did a really great job, and it comes back swimming in red ink. And the teacher was just trying to help them improve their grammar, but the kid took away the lesson, "I cannot write. I'm a bad writer."
Right.
And we take that into adulthood. And frankly, that's how I make a living, because a lot of people feel that way. But every business person needs a book the same way every person in his or her organization needs a business card.
Right.
Because you have to be able to differentiate yourself. You have to be able to decommoditize yourself, and you have to be able to show what makes you unique, special, what your ideas are, what your experience is, so that you can command the premium pricing and attention and thought leadership and authority that you deserve. Buyers have more choices than ever thanks to the internet,
Of course.
and that turns everybody into a commodity. Commodities are judged primarily by price. So
Right.
how do you avoid the commodity trap? There's nothing that creates a sense of aura and mystique about you compared with a book. So that's the short answer.
I love that. And, in today's world, it's so much easier to self-publish. And yet you've had such a grand history with actual publishers. I think that growing up in the crossover into the internet world and the digital age, there's a lot of people out there that think about a book and they think, oh, I'm never going to get published by Random House or Penguin or any of these huge publishers. They're never going to put any attention to me. Is that necessary these days?
Yeah, it's a very important point. The short answer is you don't need New York, and New York doesn't want you. Let's be blunt. New York is interested in you if you are Prince Harry,
Right.
if you are Meghan Markle, if you are Oprah, if you are Michelle Obama. If you're none of those people, New York is a star system today. They're no longer interested in the quality of your content. All they care about is the marketing plan. How many keynotes a year? Are you doing 50 keynotes in top places a year? Are you the baby doctor on the Today Show? Do you have 1 million people following you on social media? And I don't mean 30,000, I mean 1 million. If you cannot check all those 3 boxes, New York doesn't want you. If you're using New York to build your brand, they're going to see right through that. If you're using New York because you want a book so that you can sell your services and have thought leadership, they don't care about you. All they care about is selling copies of books, and business people don't need to sell books. I always tell my client, be a best earning author, not necessarily a best selling author, because a best earning author is somebody who's making money by getting new deals, new money under management, new insurance clients. You're getting your ideas out into the world. You're getting speaking and all things. Give your book away. Put it on your website as a free PDF download in exchange for an email address. And don't worry about making $6 or $12 on a book. Think about how much you're going to benefit when you can have the book as the ultimate leave behind with your prospect, so your prospect can sell you to his or her co-decision makers. When everybody's websites look exactly alike, but yours is the one with the book cover on it, and the book cover features your smiling face. Isn't that nice? Isn't that fun? No more commodity trap, and then you get the premium pricing and attention and authority you deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard and been privileged enough to have a ghostwriter for one of my books as well. But I know that the concept and the term isn't as clear to a lot of people out there. Talk to me about being a ghostwriter and what it's about and how it works, and that it's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's not about taking your stuff and filtering it and changing it and making it mine or something like that. I always say, if the book sounds like me, I failed. It's my responsibility to, before I even write a word, to listen to what makes you unique. What do you like to think about? How do you solve problems for people? Who is your real market? Who is your real niche audience? It may not be who you think it is, and it may be different tomorrow from who it is today. So who do you want it to be? Let's write your book specifically to that audience. So my first responsibility is not to think about what's the content of this book. It's to think about, who is the audience? Where are they? Where are they now? And how are we trying to influence them to change their thinking or to bring in the author in some sort of leadership or professional role? And when you start with the question of who's the audience, well, anybody listening to this podcast could write 12 different books starting right this minute. The question becomes, what about CPR? Which doesn't mean helping the unconscious person. It means cash in your pocket right now. That's my version of CPR.
I love it.
Which book is going to put cash in your pocket right now? That's the book that is going to solve the problem that you like to solve for the audience whom you like to serve. So let's start with that. Then we'll create the table of contents. That takes me an hour of your time. Then I go off and do it and comes back to you a day or two later. Then I need an hour of your time per chapter. I like to say, I only work with people who are too busy to talk to me. If you're that busy, you need a book, but you don't have the time to write. Even if you like writing, it's not the highest and best use of your time.
Right.
And if you don't like it, it's surely not. And if you give me an hour a week, and everybody's got an hour a week for something important, 12 to 15 pages of book in your hands within 2 weeks of the call. You can tell me, I like this, I hated that, do more of this, do less of that. And 10, 12 weeks later, we have a draft done. It's all. I have a course where I teach people how to do books without me, and that's fine. So if you really want to do it yourself, I can show you how, and you still don't have to write a word with that approach. Main thing is it's about the book sounding like you. It's your ideas. I'm just here to disseminate your ideas in your voice, with your word choices, with your syntax. So there's not a soul on the planet, including your spouse or partner or best friend or business partner, who is ever going to think that, yeah, I'd help with the book. I am.
Right.
That means I'm invisible.
I love it. I love it. I'm a huge proponent of the human element that art has in it. And that's my disclaimer to the next question. Because,
I know where you're going, but go ahead.
Because in today's world of AI being so prevalent, and it's the hot topic, although it's starting to fade a little. I think by end of next year, people will just be so used to it that it's like, oh yeah, another AI thing, right? But I feel like there's going to be a huge bubble of time in the next maybe 10 years where people start to look back and realize, wow, a whole lot of people took a whole lot of the human element out of writing, out of information, out of even art that they're using the AI to design these days. So I'm a really big proponent of having that human element in. But talk to me a little bit more about how AI has impacted ghostwriting and writing in general.
Yeah, I'm not really qualified to speak about that because I don't go to AI for anything, and I won't go to AI for anything. The short of it is, if I want to write a mediocre book that sounds generic and bland, then I'll call on AI. And otherwise I'll stick to what I do, which is listen and then write from what I'm hearing.
Right.
There's there are a few critically important things that AI cannot do today, maybe one day. And a lot of people who are afraid of AI, they're always afraid of something. They were afraid of something else 2 years ago and something else 5 years ago and so on. It's just the latest thing that people latch their fear onto. So
Right.
I would just let go of that. AI cannot listen to what you're not quite saying, but you wish somebody would ask you about it. A lot of the times people have really brilliant ideas and they just sort of touch on it and then they keep going because they don't think anybody's going to be interested, or they think that what they've said is clear enough. They get it. The thing is that AI cannot say, wait a minute, stop. What did you just say? I've written a lot of books in your vertical and I've read even more. And I can tell you that no one is saying what you're saying. Can you elaborate on that? And then all of a sudden that becomes the focus of the chapter. That's the difference between an outstanding ghostwriter and an average one, or a machine. So if you're okay having kind of a crappy book out there representing you, if you go to meetings with your fly unzipped and your shirt tails out, you don't need me, because
Right.
AI will write you a book constant with that self-image and that way you project yourself. But if you're really serious and everything about you speaks professionalism and seriousness of purpose, you got to have a real person who can hear you and who can listen for what you wish you were saying, or what you say that's different from anything else that's out there. And that's just something a machine can do.
How is it that, because I know a lot of people out there that have heard of ghostwriters are thinking, well, there's no way somebody's going to be able to write in the same way as me. And because of our history through our upbringing in school, every time we wrote something, I'll raise my hand. Every time I wrote something, it was like, well, you need to write it like this and sound like this. And I was like, but that's not how I wanted to say it.
Yeah.
So how do you do that as a ghostwriter and be able to bring out the way we want to say it, but not necessarily change it to be in some other tone or version?
Yeah. The short of it is that that what I do is a combination of listening and mimicry, or acting, if you will. I'm not writing in your voice. I'm being you,
Right.
and saying what you would say if I were you, and not if what you should say, but how you speak. And I've got a page on my website if you go to the website, which is michaellevinwrites.com, and then you go to click on our work, I have 9 different books from 9 different I have excerpts, and the clients are business people, they're memoirs, they're sports figures, they are men, women, they're Black, they're white, they're Asian, they're old, they're young. And all 9 books sound incredibly different one from the other. Why? It's because I'm okay at what I do. I'm good at what I do. And all you have to do is just sort of compare and contrast the excerpts from those books on that page, and you'll see, wow, this book sounds nothing like that book, and that book sounds just like that celebrity whom I've heard speak on TV. So, they say the proof is in the pudding. That's not quite correct. The proof of the pudding is in the tasting. So you can come taste the samples and see for yourself. So that's I hope that helps.
I love that. And do your services and the stuff that your company does include the editing and the post-production of it, or is it just the initial? What happens once we agree, like, yes, this is what I want in it?
Yeah, my final deliverable within the walls is your manuscript proofread and ready to publish. And then at that point, we talk, or at some point along the line, we talk about what are your goals for publishing the book? What do you want to have happen? What does success look like? And the reality is that there are so many, unfortunately, there are so many entities out there, big and small, that take advantage of first-time authors and rip them off mercilessly. Right. And I've been doing this for 35 years. I'm not a household word, but by the same token, if you look online, there's nothing negative about me. Why? It's because I take great care of my clients. I bust my butt for them, which is what my mentor Bob told me, as if I needed to be told that. But then when we get to the publishing and marketing phases, I know who's great because I've worked with all the lousy ones on the way to finding the great ones. And as a result, I oversee the publishing and marketing phases for my clients with the vendors that I really trust and admire, because I've worked with them for book after book after book, and I know they're great, and I know they deliver what they promise. So, it's one thing to find somebody who's good at one specific thing. It's another thing to find somebody who's good at multiple things, and it's rare. I'm good at getting books done. Other people are good. A few people are really good at getting the publishing done, and still others at getting the marketing done. I know who they are. I work with them. I'm always talking to new people, looking for new vendors. I know who's great, and I put my clients in the hands of the people who are outstanding at what they do, so that the client has a beautifully published and marketed book, and not just, here's your manuscript and have a nice day.
Right. No, I love that. And it's all a complete package. I mean, that's really the essence of business choreography and why we started this adventure with the podcast, is because you have to have an entire choreographed experience, not only from the write or the person with the idea, to it being written, to being marketed and published and put out there. The whole thing is a choreographed experience, but even the experience of the client, once they get that book and they read it and they have an experience, there should be something to back it up. Like you said, with your CPR method, there's got to be cash in the pocket. And I think a lot of people get a book and they're like, great, I have a book, and now what do I do with it? And so that is so great that you help to take care of all of that and put it together and what sounds like a beautifully choreographed piece of work.
Well, thank you. That's what we aim to provide. And a lot of things on the marketing side you can do for really short money. You don't have to hire a marketing team or marketing professional to get a book done. For example, you can identify 100 prospects whom you'd love to work with, and put a copy of a book, and have somebody on your team, or hire a college student to put 100 copies of your book into 100 envelopes, have you sign them first, and write a cover letter. Dear Mr. or Ms. Prospect, you're exactly the kind of person I like to serve, and encloses a copy of my book. It addresses the kinds of problems you probably deal with, and if this is of interest, let's talk. Sincerely. Who gets a book in the mail from an author? And that's under $1,000. So there are a lot of things you can do with a book for really very little money that can get the book out there. So it's not just sort of moldering in the garage, which we never want to have happen.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it sounds like such a painless process to go through.
For the client, it is. For me, not so much. But yes, go on.
Well, we don't care about you.
Exactly. Nobody cares about that. I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. That's funny. And I think that's the truth of the matter. You know, you're on the back end doing the labor of it, which you love. And I feel like there's an element of that we talked about earlier in the mentorship and being able to leverage somebody that is good at what they do. And I think for all of you guys listening to this right now, you want to be able to leverage somebody that loves it and that gets it and that has done it. And this is a perfect example of being able to do so. And so, Michael, you got to tell us how we can connect with you, how everybody out there listening, because I'm sure you've inspired some people that I know if you're in business right now, guys, if you've been listening to this podcast at all, you have thought to yourself, well, I have tons of ideas I could write a book on, but I don't have the time to do that. And so how can they get in touch with you? How can they find you?
Sure.
Let's talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, sure. For starters, my website is Michael Levin, Levin Writes, WRITES.com, MichaelLevinWrites.com. So you can read all about what I do and who called me the Michael Jordan of ghostwriting and all the other stuff, which is nice. And then if you're interested, you can see the email address and all that is there, but you can also call me. And Michael, I'm going to give your listeners my cell number. It's 617-543-3747. I'm going to say it again. It's 617-543-3747. Operators are not standing by. It goes to my phone, which is this thing right here. So if you call, I'll pick it up and we'll talk. And then that's for ghostwriting. And if you'd like to do the book yourself, you take a look at my bestearningauthor.com website. I have a course called the Best Earning Author Process. And what it does is it teaches business people how to organize, plan, write, rewrite, publish, market, and most of all, monetize their books without having to do anything, including any writing or hiring somebody like me. So Michael Levin Writes for ghostwriting. And if there are any financial advisors or insurance professionals, I have a page called advisorghost.com. It's also on the MLW website, so you can look at that. And otherwise, check out the course or give me a call. That's basically it. Keep it simple.
I love it. That's great. Those are some great resources. Make sure you go and check those out if you're interested in writing a book. And I want to second Michael's statement of every business owner and entrepreneur, y'all need a book. Y'all need a book. It's the truth. It's going to be incredibly helpful. And what better than to go to Michael to help you get it done. So go check out his website, go check out the resources that he has for you, regardless of the direction you're wanting to go, writing it yourself, having him do it for you. Go check it out because it's going to be amazing. And Michael knows what he's doing. So you got to do it. You got to go check it out. Michael, before I let you go today, I want you to leave us with some sage words of wisdom before we head out.
Wow, that's a big ask for somebody like me, but I'll offer you a thought, something that just came to mind while we were talking, and that is that the most important thing you can be with your clients, that I can be, is proactive, and that means I'm thinking about them all the time, and that specifically means that I email them before they email me to say what's going on. I email them to say this is what's going on, or I'll pick up the phone and call them. But the most important thing is that people love it when you're proactive, and they hate it when they have to feel like they have to control the process and push you and where's the work and this and that. So the most important thing you can be is one step ahead with your clients instead of one step behind. It's really the difference between being successful and referable and being somebody that they sort of said, well, it was a swing and a miss. So that would be that may not be, up there with the 10 Commandments or the Sermon on the Mount, but for business people, I think it's really a critically important behavior.
I think that is actually one of the best pieces of choreography you guys could have in your business. So I love it. Guys, don't forget, we'll see you on the next episode. But like I said, don't forget to keep choreographing your business, all parts of your business. And until next time, we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks, Michael. Take care.
Thanks for joining us today.
Want more business choreography?
Check out our website at bizchoreo.com to find out more.
And find out how the choreography for your marketing, operations, and sales can raise your revenue and create more impact.
Remember, every business needs choreography.